a little.
Yes, we had the rain, of course, a little bit earlier today. It just feels like a perfect fall day. Ready for some football.
It really does.
I was on that footbridge last night that we just showed over the
Yeah?
Body to body, E-A-G-L-E-S.
Right?
They're
Really?
getting going on the bridge all the way across. It's really cool. It feels like you're in South Philly.
I love that. Kyle Brandt, of course, Peter Schrager, Nate Burleson. My name is Kay Adams, and we, of course, had football last night kicking off Week 8 in Houston. Thursday night action between the Dolphins and the Texans. How did that go in H-Town?
Oh, it was exciting. Fireworks. Let's show the people, if you missed this one, you missed out. I want you to see Deshaun Watson coming in a robe, kind of like Ric Flair walking into his arena. Speaking of WWE, there's a little Ultimate Warrior kid who gets a catch from J.J. Watt. And J.J. was on one. Has he been all season? A couple minutes into the game, knocks the ball down, line of scrimmage. This is more J.J. Beats Jawan James for the sack. Look out, Brock. J.J. Watt is feeling it. Currently, your NFL sack leader. He's in a tie for it, but he got another one. Frank Gore, legend meets legend. Take the hat off and take a bow. J.J.'s getting theatrical like he was during his prime before the injuries. Feeling it. How about theater of this guy? Brock Osweiler, my friends. Yes, he is out there, one of the 32s we saved with the score tied at 7 in the second quarter. He's trying to get to Amendola, but it is intercepted by Justin Reed, a rook. Third-round pick for the Texans. They looked like there might have been a penalty on the coverage. They didn't call it. Interception for Osweiler. Houston's trying to get it going. Still tied 7-7. That's this next possession. Oh, candy from a baby, guys. Jordan Thomas. Touchdown, 13 yards. Houston got it loud early because Deshaun Watson, their superstar, their Jordan in waiting, had a hot hand last night, 14-10. How about this guy? From the U, Lamar Miller. Hit the speed. Hit the speed. Is he going to house this thing 40, 35-30, 25-20? Go for the pylon. No, they knock him out of bounds, guys. But a massive, massive run for Lamar Miller, 58 yards. Second straight 100-yard game. Bill O'Brien loves it. 4th and goal. The Texans decided to go for it, guys. 4th down, and it looks like the Dolphins have it stopped. But Deshaun's doing Deshaun things. Wait. Chucks it, finds it. The same guy. JT, 2 touchdowns. How about it? Bill O'Brien showing the set, and it paying off. 4th and goal, touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins is an alien. We saw this from Omar Ruiz, our friend, earlier, talking about Xavier Howard of the Dolphins covering him. Oh, DeAndre likes to push out. They said, who's Xavier Howard? Let's find out. 21-10 Houston. Deshaun's going to chuck one his way, and watch this.
Wait, what?
There's flags down. There was a lot of but just watch the artistry. Left hand under the left leg, reels it in, never touches the ground. It ends up not counting per se because there's conflicting penalties.
Hell!
Joe Buck said, it may not count, but oh my God. He said that on the call as DeAndre laughs. Jason Richardson threw the legs for the dunk. Peter, you give it a 50?
I'm sorry, what?
I give this a 10. Meanwhile, this game is so crazy. Danny Amendola just threw a touchdown pass to Kenyon Drake. Casual. A nice throw, too. Osweiler throws a reverse pass to Amendola. Amendola chucks it to Drake. So we got a game. 21-17. But there was just too much Watson. Look at Will Fuller, the 5th. You know how fast he is. They're not catching him. We have some breaking news on Will Fuller shortly. Stay tuned for it. But last night, he was cruising. Ding, 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 ding. And look at my man. He says, yes, Will Fuller, the 5th. Very British sounding, the 5th. I think he's the only 5th in the NFL. Very regal. Fake. Get it to the nuke. Get it to Peter, you like this play?
One of my favorite plays of the week. It's 2 men in motion, fake handoff, then you find your #1 receiver in the league.
49-yard touchdown. They say namaste. Watch the sideline. That's Matt Burke, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, scratching the surface, you might say, as he spikes it. High fives for the fans, not for the adults. Sorry, you'll get another one. 35-23 now. It's more DeAndre, more Xavier Howard. Nate, I think this is a perfect throw and catch because the coverage was there.
Listen, the second window, watch how he just snags it with those big old mitts and scoops it up before it hits the ground.
And he gives it to the lineman who says, "Bada!" Great night for the Houston Texans. Home crowd, national audience, 5 wins in a row after an 0-3 start. Gives it to the lineman who says, "Bada!" Great night for the Houston Texans. Home crowd, national audience, 5 wins in a row after an 0-3 start. 42-23, they win. Let's hear from the QB1, the superstar blowing up right in front of us, Deshaun Watson.
This offense can be very, very explosive. We can, do a lot of good things, put a lot of points on the board. So once, we're all on the same page and everyone's clicking and, we don't have any turnovers and no penalties, we can be very, very explosive. And that's what we showed tonight. I just did my job, helped the offensive line out whenever I had a little bit of trouble. And I just found the open guy. That's my job, to find an open guy, making right decisions, good decisions for the team. And the receivers did a good job of, finding holes in the zone and whenever I scrambled around. And we did a good job of being on the same page.
Deshaun Watson had more touchdown passes than he had incompletions last night. A super impressive start to a young career. He's now 3-1 in primetime, guys, in his career. And this is how he ranks among some of the greats through their first 15 career games. Now, you said that we did have breaking news on Will Fuller. Of course, he left the game in the fourth quarter. So let's bring in Ian Rappaport. 5 catches for 124 yards. This is a very special weapon that this offense has. What's the latest on Will Fuller?
Okay, from what I hear, it's going to be a while until Will Fuller gets to show just how special he is. Sources say that he is believed to have suffered a season-ending knee injury late last night. This is a text I received early this morning. The belief right now is that it is a torn ACL. That is based on the initial test for Will Fuller. Now, he is going to get an MRI today, but the likelihood is, as is the case with almost all ACL injuries, that the MRI will confirm he is going to be out for the season. For the Texans, obviously, this is a significant blow. A receiver who played big last night, 124 yards receiving, one of their big play threats. The only silver lining maybe for the Houston Texans, they do get Kiki Kuti back from a hamstring injury. That's either going to be this week or next week. They do have some reinforcements, but obviously a significant blow here. Houston Texans, they do get Kiki Kuti back from a hamstring injury. That's either going to be this week or next week. They do have some reinforcements, but obviously a significant blow here.
Texans win 5 straight now. They're dominating on offense, but a huge blow to that offense. We appreciate you, Rap Sheet. We'll talk to you throughout the show right here from London on Good Morning Football. Got a receiver sitting right next to me, so let's throw it to you. I've heard you on the show talk about what a special sort of speedster this is. Not everybody can catch 73-yard touchdowns like we saw Will do last night. So what does this offense do now?
Well, they're going to have to adjust next guy up, but the importance of Will Fuller, it has to be said. When you have a wide receiver like DeAndre Hopkins who can pretty much do everything in between the hashes, he can go outside, inside, he can run every route, and we know he's dynamic with the ball when the ball is in the air. But when you have a guy like Will Fuller that can stretch the field, take the top off of every coverage, it just opens up things. We were watching the highlights, and he said, you find your number 1 receiver wide open because you have guys like Will Fuller screaming across the field. It's unfortunate because just as we saw these guys catch a rhythm, seems like they were getting their flow and they're at the party. The record skips. And now everybody's looking at the DJ like, what's the next song? So the next song is going to have to be this team rallying together and saying we can do this, because it's unfortunate when a player like this goes down, everybody has to take a step back. But if one person steps up, they'll be just fine.
Is Kiki Kuti that guy? Can you see him filling that role opposite DeAndre Hopkins? Because it's going to have to be him.
Well, Will Fuller is Olympic speed fast, so you can't replace that type of speed. That's one thing you can't coach. They're just going to have to be more creative. And what we saw last night with that offense, the handoffs, the motions, the fakes, the different formations, we'll see more of that because of a guy like Will Fuller being out.
What were you most impressed by last night?
I would say DeAndre Hopkins. Yesterday I said he's the best wide receiver in the game. He's the most explosive wide receiver in the game. And when it comes to that 50-50 ball, going up and getting it, them big old mitts, he's the most dominant guy on the field. And right now he's making a statement to the league, the entire league. There's no more, you know what, is DeAndre in the conversation with Antonio Brown?
That's true.
I think the new question is Antonio Brown in the conversation with DeAndre Hopkins?
We had him on the show, right? And I asked him, I said, what do you go through in your head when they don't even mention you in that conversation? He said, I don't think any wide receiver in the National Football League could do what I've done with the quarterbacks that I've played with. A lot of different guys throwing him the ball. I'm going to look at the run game. Yesterday I said it was a low-key revenge game for Lamar Miller. Grew up a Miami Dolphin, going up, of course, against his old team that he started his career with. So I loved the fact that he got it going and had another breakout game. That's 200-plus yard games he had to put together. The other thing that was really impressive was the fact that Deshaun Watson was sacked 26 times going into last night's action, more than any other quarterback in the National Football League, and they did not get to him once. Not one sack for Deshaun Watson. That's what I want to see.
I want to see that too, because I love how Houston has it going. I have a little game we're going to play, so let me go last. Peter, first, why don't you go? I'll bring it home with the game. What do you got?
You know, it's interesting. Deshaun Watson had a crazy...
I I want to see that too, because I love how Houston has it going. I have a little game we're going to play, so let me go last. Peter, first, why don't you go? I'll bring it home with the game. What do you got?
You know, it's interesting. Deshaun Watson had a crazy 5 days. Guys, he took a 13-hour bus ride to Jacksonville, won a game on the road, took a 13-hour ride back.
Why? Why though?
Because of a lung issue where he couldn't have air pressure. And then last night, maybe has his best game as a pro on national TV in front of the entire audience of viewers. 5 touchdown passes. Kay, you mentioned it. He's on pace to break Marino's record over the next couple of games for the first 20 games of a career. But to me, I look at it as the Texans as a whole, because I came on this show 2 days ago and I said, you know, they've beaten some teams. The Cowboys, a mediocre team. Sure. They've beaten a Jaguars team that's sputtering. Go beat a team on national TV and stomp on them, right? Like, beat them big.
You said that.
And they won by 19 points last night on national TV, and DeAndre Hopkins and Deshaun Watson were the absolute stars. The Chiefs and Patriots, they're sitting right there and they're looking at home field, little bye action in the playoffs. Like, okay, we're good. We've got what we got. We're the 1 and 2 seeds. Oh, no. The Texans are coming. They've now won 5 straight games. You can argue the Texans are the hottest team in the AFC.
Right.
Patriots, Chiefs be damned.
I just remember a couple years ago that Texans-Patriots playoff game where the Texans D came to play in Foxborough, and Brock Osweiler kind of threw him out. Maybe they'll get a rematch. But we are in London. We've been having so much. Let's have a little bit of fun. Okay. Let's bring up the DeAndre Hopkins catch again, which we all loved. Twitter blew up last night, and everyone was freaking out. Was it the greatest catch of all time? Let's go back to it. As you see the rope from Watson, he's going to reach back with his left hand, his off hand. He's going to put it between his legs. Peter said Jason Richardson. I see Isaiah Ryder, or is it J.R. Ryder?
Easy Ryder.
Or is it Kobe?
It might be. Now, afterwards, he said, it's still a catch. It wasn't a penalty. I'm calling it a catch of mine. Don't forget it. Because my point on this, since he was sort of nullified by offensive pass interference, I don't want this catch to be forgotten.
Yeah.
Our friends at NFL Films everywhere, don't forget this at the end. Best plays of the year, best plays of the decade. However, was it the best catch of the decade? Let's go to another international star who I know they love here in the United Kingdom. What about this catch? 2014. We remember. This turned Odell Beckham Jr. into OBJ. Al Michaels said it was the play of the year. Chris Collinsworth said it was the greatest catch he'd ever seen. They took Odell's jersey and brought it to Canton, Ohio. They put it in the Hall of Fame on display for that catch.
Good job, Mr. Baker.
Great job by David Baker. He probably didn't like gloves. So I will go to my friends here at the table.
Oh, no.
Who you got? Who made the better that catch?
Good job, Mr. Baker.
Great job by David Baker. He probably didn't like gloves. So I will go to my friends here at the table.
Oh, no.
Who you got? Who made the better catch? Burleson, you look vexed and perplexed. Get in there, dog.
Come to me first.
Because you're the receiver.
Confusion.
Who you got?
Listen, if I remember this catch that Odell had, they lost that game.
Okay.
So for what it's worth, some would say that catch didn't count.
Context.
We all have different styles. What's yours?
DeAndre Hopkins. The frustrating thing about me is that wasn't an OPI. That was 100% defensive pass interference.
He got called for offensive pass interference.
Reach around and find the ball. There's nowhere in that play where he extends his hands, pushes off, or even gives a chicken wing. So you just took one of the best catches I've ever seen off of the table. But I'm going to have to go with the play that counted because...
You going with Odell's catch is better?
With Odell's catch. Okay. DeAndre, I'm sorry. Like, out of receivers, of course, we're going to count that. But I can't count it because they didn't count it. But it's ridiculous because he didn't push off.
All right. Nate's very in his head about this. Peter, okay?
I'm going with Odell's. It was such a cultural moment.
It was a game changer.
It was a game changer. It was a Sunday night with Al Michaels and Collinsworth, and the next morning, everyone was talking about it. I love DeAndre Hopkins' catch. It's one of the all-time greatest. Odell Beckham's might be the greatest.
Adams?
Great catch. Not the best receiver, but the best catch.
The best catch goes to Odell. I'm not the context guy. The context be damned. I want pure artistry. I want kids jumping into a swimming pool trying to impersonate it. Left hand under the leg is better. And shout out to Antonio Cromartie, who once did it off of Peyton Manning, too. I think that one was better. I'm with Nuke the Bomb in this one.
Can we do a poll on Twitter for this?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's get a poll going. Ziplo back there in the control room. Let's tweet that out. The better catch between Odell or DeAndre Hopkins last night to kick off Week 8. So right now, we are in London, as you said. Let's talk about everything going on here on Sunday. It is time for an NFL London game update presented by On Location Experiences. And who better to give us an update on Sunday's action between the Eagles and the Jags than our very own NFL Network reporter, host of NFL 360, good friend of the show, Melissa Stark. Hey, Melissa.
Hi, Kay. Well, as you know, I've been here more than a week at this point covering the Titans and the Chargers last week. And really, I mean, just spectacular weather. You know, you guys have been here. Mid-60s, sunny. Today was the first day that rained. It drizzled in the morning. It's cleared now and the sun's kind of out, but it is cold. I pulled out the gloves. It's windy. The Jaguars are on their way over here on the buses as we speak, about to arrive at Alliance Park, which is a rugby stadium in a suburb of London. And they know London better than any other team, and they're hoping that works in their favor because they come in reeling, having lost 3 straight. Locker room issues documented after last week's loss. And, of course, their starting quarterback, Blake Bortles, was benched in the 3rd quarter last week. He will start this week. And he said, you know what? I know that I'm the scapegoat of this team, but he really tries to tune it all out. He deleted his Twitter account. He doesn't go on social media. He said his mom sends him articles every once in a while, both positive and negative. He said, please stop. I don't want to hear any of it. But the good news is, for whatever reason, Bortles has been dominant here in London. He has, over the last 3 games here, all wins, by the way, 8. I don't want to hear any of it. But the good news is, for whatever reason, Bortles has been dominant here in London. He has, over the last 3 games here, all wins, by the way, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. And here's a stat for you. Bortles has more starts, more wins, more passing touchdowns at Wembley than any other quarterback in the NFL. Okay, so it could be just what the doctor ordered.
He's the only guy who loves London more than I do, Melissa. That's very fair. He's undefeated across the pond right here. We appreciate you, Melissa. I know the Eagles are arriving there in about an hour, so we'll check in with you a little bit later on in the show with the defending Super Bowl champs. Listen, it's never too early for football. 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Start your morning at Wembley Stadium in London. 2 teams who nearly met in the Super Bowl a year ago, Eagles, Jags, live from London, Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and only our house band for the week in London. And let's start with that game. Will the Jags defense be at full strength?
They actually will not be, and this is a little bit of a surprise, Kate. A.J. Bouye, one of their star cornerbacks in big-time free agent acquisition last year, was already declared out for this game. Now, he injured his calf in, I believe, Wednesday's practice when the team flew over late yesterday. He was not there. So now what you're going to see for this Jaguars defense that is trying to show that it really is one of the best in the NFL, you're going to see Jalen Ramsey, the All-Pro, then a bunch of rookies. Those are the guys that are tasked with going out and stopping this Eagles offense. It's a similar situation for the Eagles. Sidney Jones had a hamstring, also not there, but obviously for the Jags, they are trying to bounce back, and this one stings.
All right, Ian, moving on to the Patriots. What's the latest on Rob Gronkowski and Sonny Michel's respective injuries?
We were wondering, Nate, how Rob Gronkowski's back would kind of respond from being a couple days off, obviously missed the last game against the Bears. It seems like it is going well. Didn't practice Wednesday, but that was kind of a bonus practice. Remember, they have the Monday night game. He did practice on Thursday. That is a very good sign for Gronkowski, who, of course, was dealing with some sort of back spasms, his back locked up right before the Bears game. So maybe some good news there. Then as far as Sonny Michel, he also received positive news on his knee, no structural damage, not a major injury despite what it looked like, but he did not practice on Thursday, opening up the possibility that maybe he will end up missing a game on Monday night, but obviously that is no sure thing.
Good news for those Patriots, and they take on the Bills on Monday night, as you said. How likely are we to see Shady McCoy on the field?
Okay, all concussions are different, and all players dealing with concussions are different, but the early signs on this one are at the very least positive. We know that because LaShawn McCoy did practice on a limited basis on Thursday. That means he's progressed enough in the NFL's concussion protocol that he could go out there and do some limited work. Obviously, did not participate fully, but the word is he feels good, and there is some optimism that he'll be able to go play for the Buffalo Bills. So at the very least, it seems they'll be full strength against the Patriots Monday night.
Great stuff from Ian Rappaport. Sorry you don't like the Clash. The boys told me you made a mean face about it. Sorry they're not Butch Walker.
I'm sorry too, Kay.
Okay, the Clash that Ian likes is the one between East Coast and West Coast rappers. He's into that. That's his Clash, right there, baby.
We'll talk to you in a little bit. Ian, lots going on leading into this weekend correspondence.
Absolute legend in the building with us right now, both on and off the field. He was a Pro Bowler. He led the Eagles to their first Super Bowl appearance in 1980, ranked second all-time in franchise history with just under games in London in 1988, and that was a preseason game. So what was that experience like back then? And now 30 years later, what's the differences that you notice coming back out to London?
Nate, you did your research. That's good. You're all
Shout
over it.
out to
And I remember that game. I was with the Miami Dolphins at the time, a backup to Dan Marino. We played Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers, and we actually practiced together the entire week. It was a preseason game. It was called the American Bowl at the time. And I got the sense even back then that football was going to work in London. The crowd was enthusiastic. They were energetic. They loved football. Our practices were packed with people. They were learning the NFL game. Wembley Stadium, the old Wembley Stadium was packed, and I knew right then and there this was going to work in London, and obviously 30 years later, look what we have.
It's incredible. Well, listen, Ron, I did a little research too, and I found out that the Philadelphia Eagles are 3-4. They're the world champions, and they have a 3-4 record. I'm looking at that emblem there on your jacket. You were one of the faces of this franchise, the reigning world champs. What's going on?
Well, this is the Super Bowl ring. You know, we all love the Super Bowl rings, but there is a Super Bowl hangover. And I've said it for years, and I've been around this league since 1973 as a player, as an analyst, and I kind of understand the players. And you get the whole offseason, people say, hey, you're great. Oh, you're the best. No one will beat you. And you start believing that stuff. And then there's a big target on your chest. And people want to knock you off that high pedestal that you have. And that's exactly what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. And injuries. This team has been decimated by injuries. But you can't make that as an excuse or use that as an excuse. It's part of the game. But this is still a really good football team. And by the way, if you would have told me the Eagles and the Jaguars would be meeting in London with 3-4 records 2 months ago, I would have said, you're crazy. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is a must-win game for either the Jaguars or the Eagles in this game.
A lot of season left, too.
A lot of season left, but you don't want to fall too far behind.
Depth an issue, obviously, with the injuries, of course. There was a little bit of roster turnover, but I sort of said going into the season, I don't think it's the same team because they don't have DiFilippo there. Frank Reich also departs. Did we sort of underestimate their effect on this team going into this year?
No, I think the quarterback play has been outstanding. You start out with Nick Foles, you know, while Carson was mending. Carson's now healthy. He's playing at a very, very high level once again. But, you know, we talk about the room, and Nate, you know, you were part of that room as a player, you know, and the room is important. And the room is the quarterback room and those coaches, Frank Reich, John DiFilippo. The chemistry between the quarterbacks and the coaches was very, very good. Frank Reich is down in Indianapolis. John DiFilippo is down in Minnesota. They are gone. You have 2 new coaches. And it takes time for that chemistry to develop. It's coming, but it's not there yet. It's not bad, but I don't think it's at the level where it was the past couple of years.
Jaws, we're talking Eagles, Jaguars all this week, but I know you cover the entire league. Let's just call it like it is. If you could have one quarterback right now, any quarterback in the league, to be the man under center for your team, who you take?
Okay, can I get 2 choices on this? Can I get 2, not 1? I think the most exciting quarterback right now in the league is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what he's doing is just ridiculous. I mean, he's taking this league by storm. And he does things that. Are you shocked? Yeah, I am kind of shocked. I am shocked. But then you look at the weapons that he has, and Andy Reid has lost his mind with his design. I mean, I know Mr. Conservative Andy Reid. Are you shocked? Yeah, I am kind of shocked. I am shocked. But then you look at the weapons that he has, and Andy Reid has lost his mind with his design. I mean, I know Mr. Conservative Andy Reid, you know, as a head coach in Philly all those years. Now, I mean, he must sit there in the science room, you know, drawing up all these crazy plays.
Russell Crowe, a beautiful mind. Just
it's nuts. It's nuts. But if you say, what quarterback do you want to lead your team? One game. I am going with Drew Brees right now.
Brady. I love it.
Hey, Brady's the all-time greatest. I'm gonna give you that right now. But right now, and thank you for mentioning the tape, because the tape doesn't lie, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. Nate, we live with that.
Of course,
and that's what it's all about. But if you watch the level of Drew Brees right now, the way he's orchestrating offense for the New Orleans Saints, he is playing lights out, phenomenal football right now. So to win one game right now, I'm taking Drew Brees.
Love it.
All right, now let's go to the other side of things, Jaguars and their quarterback situation. Some people will say that their struggles are solely on the shoulders of Blake Bortles. There's times we saw him play well, like the win over the Patriots, and then there's times where, quite frankly, you sit back and you say, what was that? What do you think the struggles are when it comes to Blake Bortles?
Number 1, he's careless with the football, and that's where it starts. And you cannot be careless with the football. If you watch Blake Bortles and look at stats, which it can sometimes lead to how a player is playing. He's thrown 8 interceptions, and he's fumbled 4 times and lost 3. He personally has turned the ball over 11 times. You know, in the National Football League, if you're +1 or better in the turnover, giveaway, takeaway category, you win 80% of the time.
if you're minus, you're going to lose 80% of the time. You must protect the football. And I remember going to Blake Bortles' pro day. And I was blown away. He has incredible talent. After I study all the tape and college tape and everything and do my background, his pro day was phenomenal. His mechanics have regressed.
Really?
And the National Football League, if you don't get better mechanically every single week, you got to coach quarterbacks hard, you got to coach mechanics hard, you got to be a wonk to do things the right way. He has not done things the right way mechanically. And when you have poor mechanics, now at times he can get the job done and does things really well, but there are times the mechanics break down, and that's when the mistakes happen.
Mechanics are worse now than they were at his pro day?
Yes. Yeah, in fact, think back to a couple, 3 years ago when he was dropping that ball way down here. And, man, I'll tell you, if you're a defensive back in the NFL, you love guys like that because that split second, they jump those routes and they are on. Nate'll tell you, hey, if a quarterback's given any hint or indicator where he's going, makes his job tougher. They're on top of it. So his release has been far too slow to be consistent. Now, like I said, there are times, he looks like the guy that was a first-round draft choice. Then there are times you go, man, it's a head-scratcher. Come on. But I know Doug Marrone. I played actually with Doug Marrone with the Dolphins, and Doug he's a hard, tough-nosed. He wants to win in the offensive line, the defensive line. That's where he wants to win. But he won't tolerate turnovers. I guarantee you there's going to be a very short leash for Blake Bortles on Sunday.
He is 3-0 in London, so he's got...
How many games have he played, Kay?
Also, take it off the field. They put Kessler, and I feel like that might reignite something. It'll be a great game. We can both agree on Sunday.
I agree with that.
While we have you, though, we have to talk about this. Bill Belichick, last week, was asked about Khalil Mack because they were facing the Bears and what he thought about him being in the discussion with Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor. Take a look at what Bill Belichick had to say.
I knew you were going to do this to me. I knew you were going to do this.
Yeah, I'm not putting anybody in Lawrence Taylor's class. So you put everybody down below that. That's with a lot of respect to a lot of good players now, but we're talking about Lawrence Taylor.
Just we have a researcher named Hamilton here, and before the show, I was looking at the many battles you had with one LT. I did my research. You faced him more than any other quarterback.
Wow.
Is there a defensive player in the league right now that you would put in the same class as LT?
I think I was also the most sacked quarterback by Lawrence Taylor.
You didn't get that research.
Thank you very much on that, Peter. Thank you very much. He's in a class by himself. Bill is absolutely right. There are a lot of great impact players in the National Football League. Lawrence Taylor is the guy that you game plan for. Go back and think of his comments Joe Gibbs made when he was coaching the Redskins. The offseason, they changed their entire offensive scheme. They went to 2 tight ends. They brought fullbacks, on their roster because they knew if they were going to beat the New York Giants, they had to account for Lawrence Taylor. He dominated the league for 10 years. The best defensive player I've ever seen.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you right there. Listen, I wish you could stay all
I know, we got a million other questions.
I'll be back.
Football knowledge, I'm just soaking it up. Listen,
you NFL films.
You were one of the best when you played, and of course, right now, you're one of the best at what you do. You're such a beautiful mind when it comes to sport. Thank you for coming and dropping gems on us. The legend.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
He should be a voice of Madden. I'm just saying
How you feeling, man?
Just super an exciting game. As you said, it's a must-win game for both squads on Sunday at Wembley. And Bortles, who's benched for Cody Kessler last week against the Texans, but will he bounce back? Instagram stories. And that's exactly what that is.
We're live.
Okay.
Right? Is that what the kids are?
It's good knowing you, man.
See you later, guys. Take care. Jack
Hey, what are you going to do, London? I'm going to go to London Eye, check out Buckingham Palace. I'm going to go get my earlobe singed.
That's right.
That sounds like a good time.
That's right. I like it hot.
Out in the newsroom in Los Angeles, Jack the Clipper, not bad.
KB, you know how to live, my friend. That's for sure. Let's just hope you have both earlobes when you return next week. Either way, there have been fantastic shows with you guys as well. I know you'll be live Saturday and Sunday. Meanwhile, we've got some news to tell you about starting in Houston. The Texans win proving to be a costly one. Wide receiver Will Fuller is going to have an MRI today on what the team believes is a season-ending injury to his knee. This according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. Now, Fuller suffering the injury in the fourth quarter, a hamstring injury forcing him to miss a game earlier this season. He led the Texans with 5 catches for 124 yards and a touchdown on Thursday night. He was targeted 6 times. In 11 games played together, Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller have scored 11 touchdowns. Now, the bad news continues for the Texans as secondary could be a little thinner. Two-time Pro Bowl corner Jonathan Joseph lost for the game after suffering an ankle injury when teammate Davian Clowney accidentally rolled into it. Joseph had just inked a 2-year contract extension this past offseason. An ankle injury is also hobbling Bears linebacker Khalil Mack. Mack still hasn't practiced on it as a result. Defense coordinator Vic Fangio, in fact, saying he's obviously not 100%. The Bears dropping 2 straight since the injury against the Dolphins in Week 6. The Jets saying they are preparing as if Mack will still play. Panthers quarterback Cam Newton effusive in his praise of Ravens rookie quarterback Lamar Jackson, calling him a very, very, very exceptional talent. That's 3 varies. Newton saying Jackson has a little more life in his legs than he does, a little more wiggle. Newton went on to say he's trying to take some notes out of his book. Newton also saying that as Jackson keeps growing in this league, his confidence will rise, and hopefully one day he'll have the reins to be a starter. Jackson, for his part, has said that he wants a jersey exchange with Cam Newton. He says he wants to man cave it. So if you're in London and you're Lamar Jackson, then you would say he's full of beans. But it has a different meaning in the States, though, right, Kay?
Yeah.
Break this down for me.
Yeah, we're going to try to break it down. It's a little bit confusing. Some phrases in London, frankly, are. Appreciate you, Will, for that segue. We are nearing the half point of the NFL season, right? It's week 8 now. We are in London, as Will said, not the United States. And apparently, if you say the phrase "full of beans" in the U.S., like you're full of,
full of BS.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Or it's the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you.
Yes. I mean, sure. In London, though, someone that's being called full of beans is someone that you are like hyping up, or someone that's full of energy, or you're full of enthusiasm for. So like I'm full of beans for Milo Ventimiglia.
Sure, who isn't?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of vibe. Somebody that you're,
they're magic beans.
Impressed with? I don't even know how to say this.
Yeah.
Like, looking at me crazy.
Because when you met him,
I was full of beans.
Yeah,
that's right.
Apparently, in England, not in America.
This is us.
All right, so instead of talking about players that we are excited to see, we are calling this segment Lads That We're Full of Beans For.
All right.
Of course we are. So, Nate, take it away. Who's
Lads
a lad?
we're full of beans for.
Yeah, yeah, that's
In
it.
other words, like someone I'm gassed up for, because that's what
Nate.
happens when
That's
you...
a great way to look at it.
Flatulence humor. There we go.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Cam Newton. I'll just get right to it. He's playing unbelievable. All these quarterbacks we're talking about. Look at Cam Newton. 11 pass TDs, 4 interceptions. He's at 65% completion rate, which is the highest of his career through 6 games. So obviously, he's playing more efficiently. What do people always talk about Cam? Well, he's big, he's athletic, he has a strong arm, but he struggles with efficiency. Even his former wide receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, came out and said, well,
confrontation.
I haven't played with a quarterback this accurate ever. So Cam is playing at a high level, so I want to see what he does up against that Ravens defense, who leads the league with 27 sacks, and they have the fewest points allowed at 14. So this is going to be a battle between Cam, LeBron at quarterback, and this really great Ravens defense.
Love that. A lad that I'm full of beans for.
It's fun to say, right?
Not really. Is Blake Bortles, because I feel like we keep throwing around this. He's 3-0 in London stat, and it's very surface, and I feel like we need to remember some of the plays that gave him confidence over here, that gave him confidence throughout his career. And coming off of benching last week, maybe Blake Bortles needs to see this. Let's go back to 2015, Week 7 against the Bills. They're trailing. It's not good. And what does he do but lob it up? A 31-yard touchdown pass to Allen Hurns.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. Diving catch. Jags come from behind, and they defeat Buffalo 34-31. Fast forward to 2016. It's Week 4 against the Colts in London. Blake Bortles with a nice little bloop, short pass to Allen Hurns. They were up. It turns into a 42-yard touchdown reception, and basically they put the game away, which you gotta love to see here. The Colts scored late, Jags hold on, and they beat Indianapolis. Last year, this was his best game. Best game in London, maybe ever. Week 3 against the Ravens.
Awesome.
Early third quarter, they have the lead big. Guys, they were up 23-zip. Mercedes Lewis catches a touchdown. He had 4 passing touchdowns in this game, 0 interceptions. There's something about being in London, and they crushed those Ravens. So, to me, you look at that 3-0. and the yards per game, the touchdown interception ratio. To have just one interception in those 3 wins is very impressive. And you know what? I know he doesn't have Allen Hurns, who was the superstar in 2 of those 3 games, but maybe somebody steps up. Maybe he gets it together. And I really think I'm just excited to see him and full of beans for Blake Bortles.
Home sweet home, right, Kay?
Because I just want him to sort of have a fire lit under his arse.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right under that, A-R-S-E, right? Meanwhile, Dak Prescott saying, where's that Allen Hurns? Where's that guy? I love that guy. I got something cool here. I'm full of beans for Aaron Rodgers. First of all, because he's coming off a bye, and I miss players when they go on bye. And I like that Aaron Rodgers is going back to Pac-10, Pac-12 country, playing at the Coliseum against the Rams as the biggest underdog in his career. Because Rodgers is smart. He knows what time it is. He knows he's going to have to put up a lot of points in this game to beat the Rams. And we have, for really a long time now, we've referred to Aaron Rodgers in the show as Pennywise. Started joking about how he lives in the sewers and he's the terrifying killer clown. And the thing in L.A. is they got some massive sewers. There's what's called the LA River. There's huge sweeping sewer systems that go through the city. So look out for Pennywise to show up. And I'm not joking. I'm not doing a bit. I ran into Aaron Rodgers.
What?
I'm not allowed to say where. I'm not allowed to say where. I ran into Aaron Rodgers. I talked to him on camera. He's ornery as hell. He is very focused. We have it, the world premiere. I interviewed Aaron Rodgers. Guys, roll it. Wow. So look who I found here in London. Aaron Rodgers. What's up, Aaron? What's up? How you doing, man? So why do you always come back to beat the Bears at the end of the game? Because he wants to. How simple is that? You gonna win the NFC North over the Dolphins and the Vikings, Aaron Rodgers as well? Hell yes! That's it. Take that, Detroit, Minnesota, Chicago. It ain't looking good. Rodgers! He means business, guys. Aaron Rodgers is tired of this crap. Enough of the Mahomes and enough of the Goff and the Brady and the Breeze. Rodgers has had enough. He's in the sewers. Hey, Sean McVay, I'm going to eat the pomade off your head. Sean McVay, I'm going to come eat you. Packers, Rodgers, full of beans for him. How about that?
What finger was that?
The one that counts. I think that might mean something different in England. It's just like full of beans does, right?
Kyle asks him, what do you think about the Bears? Why do you beat them all the time? He goes, because I want to.
Because I want to.
All right, we're in London here, and we're enjoying the spirit of London and all this amazing sights and sounds, but it's so cool. There's a star in the NFL, a budding superstar named F.A. Obata right now, and he is a London native. And I was walking around the streets, and they had a jersey for Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, and they had this Panther shirt in the streets. F.A. Obata. If you don't know his story, it's incredible. He's from Nigeria. He came over here when he was 10 years old. He was homeless. He was sent to social services, tried out for a team that was called the London Warriors, all right? After playing some games for them, 5 games of the British American Football League, he was discovered by a coach who was a London Warriors coach named Aiden Durdee. Ends up somehow getting scouted by the Cowboys and ending up in the NFL. And earlier this season, he was the NFL Defensive Player of the Week in Week 3. He had an interception, and he won Defensive Player of the Week. And I got to say, this week they play the Panthers. The Panthers play the Ravens. And I can't imagine a bigger name from London right here. A former London Warrior was one of the great stories. The NFL is alive and well over here. And it's not only us just dropping the product into London, but the London is coming into the States. F.A. Obata, he is the guy. So on behalf of the NFL in America, thank you, London, for bringing us some great talent. And thank you for bringing us this guy, F.A. Obata.
That's amazing.
Great
I haven't seen that yet.
Amongst all the star quarterbacks, they did F.A. Obata.
You can't be covered by any quarterback in the league. I really do, man. One-on-one, I feel like I can't be covered, man. I feel like if I put the ball in the air, it's my ball. It's either a PI or I'm coming down with it.
Hopkins, 2 touchdowns, guys. He's averaging 98.6 yards a game, 6 touchdowns so far this season, which is pretty wild. Yes. A lot of great plays in this game. So we'll talk about the plays that impressed us most, and we have to start with DeAndre Hopkins. I was going to get that on the table. And I love when superstars ball out after they've been on our show. Take a look at what he had to say just a couple weeks ago on Good Morning Football. Oh, guess we don't have
it. That's all right.
What do you say?
The NFL could have the patience. You know, sometimes, I'm not calling names, but I see guys who are upset when they get 10 balls a game. You know, but it's like, man, you know, you couldn't go through what I went through the last 5 years with that attitude or not having patience. You know, so now I don't think any receiver can do what I've done.
Yeah, I don't think think any receiver has done this. Look at this catch just one more time because I feel like we have to play it and give it
no question.
so it doesn't escape us and be
because it might.
Fast food football.
It might be forgotten, okay?
That happened.
This is God's work.
Of course, averaging like 100 yards a game, crushing it, one of the most dominant wide receivers. They lose Will Fuller, and I know that he opens things up for DeAndre Hopkins, but got to give love to this play, and even other NFL players took notice.
Well, they got
lots of tweets from around the NFL. Let's take a look at some of those right now.
It wasn't a push-off.
Todd Gurley, just a couple goat emojis and exclamation points.
It's big words when a player calls you a goat.
You saying he's better than Jerry Rice?
That's what he's saying.
It's
incredible.
Golden Tate. We know he knows a big player too. This guy's always in a crazy
big play
highlight.
Tate. Hell yes, he does.
Okay.
Last but not least, Des Bryant. That was nasty. D-Hop. Love seeing it. What about you guys? Other plays?
What's up, Des? You might sign with Houston now that Will Fuller's out.
Oh, look at Nate matchmaking. You two should get together.
Check Nate's phone.
You just did that.
For me, what stood out, it was a play on the other side of the ball.
All right.
And it was Brocktober, a pass that he had. It was intended for Jakeem Grant, I believe. I believe we have this play. And it was an absolutely wild play because Jakeem Grant, he catches the ball, then he gets hit, the ball pops up, and then here comes Devontae Parker out of nowhere in the background.
Great.
You know, they always say keep your eye on the ball, pay attention, and you might be a recipient of a play like this. He runs the Willie route, comes across, catches it, turns around, boom, ball's in the air. And Parker's like, yo, I'm right here. Let me go ahead and take
off
this
the defender's face. Watch the ball. Off the face. Bam! Right off the visor. That is so cool.
But this was a great play, and it's one of those crazy plays that we won't talk about, but this doesn't happen as often as people think. Just a wild play with a wild ending. And Devontae Parker, who had himself a day.
Yes, he did.
Peter Schrager yesterday, you came out there, he said there's something going on with him not dressing, and the agent coming out, talking to Adam Gase. Adam Gase saying, listen, it's my team to do it my way. Guess what? It might have worked. Devontae Parker.
Parker had a huge game. Parker had a huge game.
Yeah.
Let me contextualize this one. So imagine you're Danny Amendola. If you had his great career, you have an amazing play in your career where you catch a pass from a wide receiver. Adam hit him for that touchdown. A playoff game was amazing. Then they come to you before the Super Bowl and they say, Danny, it's your turn. You're going to throw one. It's like, oh my God, this is the coolest play of my life. They call the play in the greatest Super Bowl ever. You run out. There's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yep.
You throw a perfect pass, and Tom Brady drops it. You think, that was my one chance, my only chance, and they'll never go back to it. Sure enough, Thursday Night Football, they say, Danny, let's do it again. New team, new coaches, new receiver, and Amendola across the field in stride. I'll say it right now, Kenyon Drake is better than Tom Brady. He's a better football player than Tom Brady. The stats don't lie. One catch, one touchdown. Afterwards, Amendola said, look, it worked in practice, it worked in the game. I'm glad we got to execute it. Brady had said in the Super Bowl, Danny threw a great ball, I just got to catch it. And he didn't. Danny always throws a great ball, and I hope they give him another shot because he owes one. Super Bowl drop is like at least 3 regular season throws. Great play.
He's 3 of 4 in passing in his career.
That's awesome.
That one drop.
Shout out to Danny.
Yeah, it's a good throw. And you got to think, what would have been the story if Brady had caught that ball?
Oh.
The Eagles fans all coming here in the lobby talking about the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who knows what could have happened?
Who knows?
I'm going to go with the Deshaun Watson play from last night. That wasn't in the highlights. Probably didn't see much of it. It was 3rd down in the 2nd quarter, and it was just a glimpse of the Deshaun Watson we saw of last year. 3rd and long, and look at Deshaun Watson here. This is all I wanted to see.
That's it, Peter.
3rd and long. What are you going to do? Out of the shotgun, fakes a pass, and runs. It's such a small play in the game, and there were so many points, but this is what's going to make him elevate this team when it matters most. When I'm talking December and January, those week 1, 2, 3 games that they lost. The game that they lost to the Giants, Deshaun Watson was doing nothing out of the pocket. The game they lost to the Patriots, Deshaun Watson looked a little gun-shy. Last night, it looked like Deshaun Watson of old. The Deshaun Watson that lit up the Seahawks in Seattle and lit up the Patriots in Foxborough last year. Deshaun Watson is back. The NFL is better for it. And watch out AFC, because that team last night, they can compete with anybody. Chiefs, Chargers, Patriots even on the big stage.
I love how Week 8 started.
It's great, right?
Now you've got a team that's won 5 in a row, a playoff contender officially with the Texans. I love all of it, and I'm so excited for what's going to go on Sunday with the Jags and the Eagles. Jacksonville, they have 3 straight losses right now, and they're facing the defending champion Eagles. All-pro defensive end Calais Campbell, he was on Total Access last night, and he was asked about the experience of coming to London and what that means for his team. Is it an advantage? Take a listen.
experience does play a role when you look at this kind of stuff. And last year I was able to pick some of the brains of the guys who have traveled there before, and they've kind of gave me some advice, and it really paid off. And I was able to have a pretty good game. And this is a worthy opponent. These are two gladiators who are both desperate for a win. Just the way the seasons have gone. This is a matchup where both teams are going to be hungry and motivated to go out there and play good ball. And, I think it's exciting to be able to go to London and compete.
How confident are you that you're going to get the play that you need at quarterback?
Very much. I look into his eyes and I see a competitor. And nobody's tougher on himself than Blake. He loves the game. He wants to do well. And he understands. If you take away the turnovers, this is a different ball game. And so, he's focused and working hard, and I see it in his eyes that he's ready to go.
You think Jalen Ramsey's in for a bounce-back game?
Yeah, man, he's a beast, man. He's a competitor. He loves the game. He's very gifted, and every time he goes out there, I expect him to bring his A game, and he always does, And he brings that energy. He talks that trash, and, and he really creates that swagger that we all feed off of.
Okay, so that's Calais discussing Blake Bortles there. Bortles told NFL.com last week, quote, "I totally understand that I'm like the scapegoat for this team. When we played good, the defense played well. The running back did good. The receivers made great plays. And when we played bad, Blake Bortles is the worst quarterback on the face of the planet." And I get it, obviously. That's not what I would have chosen for myself, and I'm sure it'll never stop, but I couldn't care less. I just want to win football games with this team. Guys, with all of that in mind, which Jags player, Bortles off the table, outside of Bortles, needs to step it up to stop this 3-game losing streak?
I'm going to jump right in, and it's the guy who sets the tone. It's not Calais Campbell, whose words are so poignant. It's Jalen Ramsey, because he is the attitude and the spunk of that team, and they've lost it. There's Jalen right now in real time.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wow. Practicing in London. He just got off the plane. He was wearing the usual hat he wears. But he needs to wear that black hat on this game. All right, we need to see the Jalen Ramsey that the NFL is scared of. The Jalen Ramsey that sets the tone in that Jacksonville locker room. And the Jalen Ramsey that's going to come over to London and show the world what he's all about. Because 3 straight losses in which the defense has been beaten up upon. Tyreek Hill had a day against him. Last week we saw a lot of receivers make plays on him. DeAndre Hopkins had the touchdown. Jalen Ramsey, you are the heart and soul. As much as we love Calais and we love Blake, you are the heart and soul and the face of the Jaguars right now. Come into this game, set the tone early, and when everyone is watching, at a 9:30 a.m. Eastern window, where the only game in town is going on in Wembley, be the guy that does GQ articles, and be the guy that we want to talk about.
Ooh, I love that.
I'm actually going to go exactly the opposite way, because I'm going to take it back to Calais. I think that Jalen is like the treble and Calais is the bass, and not just his voice. If you look at what they had going last year, Jalen was cool, and Jalen makes plays, and I love Jalen. At this point last year, Calais Campbell already had 10 sacks. Wow. He was the guy who makes it happen. And then we hear reports this week that he's breaking up a physical altercation in the locker room. First of all, first ballot Hall of Fame fight breaker, Oprah, Calais Campbell. I mean, he cannot possibly have a better one. The problem will be when someone needs to break it up with him, but I don't think that'll happen. The 2017 Jags that we fell in love with ran on defense because of Calais. He was not the lead singer. He's not in GQ, but he is the guy who is a bad MF. You hear what I'm saying? It's a different magazine, and that's what they need over here.
All right, now you mentioned Jalen, and you said Jalen is the treble, and you said Calais is the bass, and when you're adjusting the audio in the car, you have to balance it out. What brings balance to this team is the running game. And ever since Fournette went down, they're trying to figure out who that is.
Talk about it.
T.J. Yeldon. T.J. Yeldon is the guy that can help Blake Bortles become the Blake Bortles we know him to be. T.J. Yeldon has been fantastic. His best game this season, he had 18 touches, 122 and a TD. He has 4 TDs this year in the air.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I want to emphasize that, like we're seeing right here on a screenplay dump-off check down, is because when Blake drops back in that pocket, a couple things you have to keep in mind. 1, go through your progressions and don't take a risk in throwing the ball into traffic. 2, just like Dorsey said, protect the damn ball and don't turn it over. And then 3, if you don't have a play that you're going to have downfield, you're going to make downfield, dump it off to this guy, because he's not just going to run in between tackles. He's another receiver out here. So let T.J. Yeldon be your blanket, and you'll have success within this offense. So T.J. Yeldon, in a unique opportunity without Fournette, having himself a good season, he can play even better now, knowing that more of the weight is on his shoulders.
I think he'll play even better now because the weight doesn't have to be on his shoulders with Carlos Hyde there now, a guy who's averaging 20 touches a game so far this season. They knew T.J. Yeldon great in the passing game, but not really the battering ram, right? The guy that you want on every down. So bringing in Carlos Hyde, let's get back to what what made this team great. Having a guy to hand the ball off to. I feel like Carlos Hyde's skill set is a lot more similar to Leonard Fournette than T.J. Yeldon, but those two together, those two together are going to hopefully crush it and sort of alleviate some of the stuff going on offense there.
Yep. Dr. Yeldon and Mr. Hyde.
What is it?
El Guapo, yes.
El Guapo, and he just had a baby. El Guapacito.
El Guapito, right.
Guapito, there we go.
Love that kid.
Talking more Jags.
One of their star wideouts, Will Fuller, suffering a knee injury in the fourth quarter, a hamstring injury forcing him to miss a game earlier this season. You may recall he led the Texans with 5 catches for 124 yards and a touchdown on Thursday night. He was targeted 6 times. Now, for more on Fuller's injury, here's NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport.
It was a big night for Texans receiver Will Fuller, but he may have to wait another season before he shows just how special he can be. Sources say that Fuller is believed to have suffered a torn ACL late last night in the Houston Texans win. This is based on the initial diagnosis. Fuller's going to have an MRI today, but the expectation is, as is usually the case, that the MRI will confirm he is going to be out for the season. Reinforcements are on the way. Kiki Kuti is expected to come back soon with a hamstring injury, but make no mistake, this is a significant blow for the Texans offense.
Right, Rap Sheet with the latest, and we have a little more information now on Bilal Powell's neck injury that placed him on injured reserve. After initially believing it to be season-ending, head coach Todd Bowles says the running back will go through the same surgery and recovery schedule as teammate Quincy Enunwa did last summer for his neck injury. Enunwa returning this season after missing the 2017 campaign. Well, Adam Thielen having a monstrous year with the Vikings. He leads the NFL in receptions and receiving yards. Not bad as he continues to improve his chemistry in his first year with Kirk Cousins. But Thielen isn't buying into the praise that many in the media have heaped on him. He's focusing in on ways he can continue to improve.
I mean, I think the media, they look at all the positive things you've done, but they don't see the negatives maybe. In past weeks it was poor run blocking, and I got Diggs killed on a bubble pass yet last week, so I wasn't too happy with myself on that one. But there's a lot of things that people don't see that you have to correct and make sure that every week. Sometimes when you win ball games and maybe have a good game stats wise, sometimes you overlook those things. But I think that's something that this team does really well, and this coaching staff does well. Is we're going to go look at the tape and we're going to correct it, even if it doesn't matter what other people think.
Now, Thielen must be the first player to say that the media has only positive things to say. So, Adam, thank you very much for that. He is indeed having a very, very big year, and he is just focused on the prize there. But saying that, the media says positive things. All right, we like that. We do. We do see a lot of positive things.
Our show definitely does.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Positive show.
Football should be fun.
Yes,
absolutely.
Always.
No MVP, but Adam Thielen's an amazing story.
I'm here for it.
Thanks so much, Will Sullivan. Never too early for some football. 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Start your morning at Wembley Stadium in London. 2 teams who nearly met in the Super Bowl a year ago. Is this just happened?
This is it.
I think so.
Bortles, that was GM Dave Caldwell walking by with a smile on his face. They're London side. They're here.
Love it. It's 3-0 here. The Eagles Jags live from London Sunday 9:30 a.m. Eastern and only on NFL.
Peter and Nate over there talking statistics during the commercial break, like always. Peter, big stat guy, chews them up and spits them out, and I bet he's going to use them in this segment to make a game pick. If you have a football show, guys, you got to have a pick. You got to have a pick section for the weekend. That segment always rates, as we're told. We're going to call it something different, though. This week, we will make our selections for the weekend. We'll recall one game that we guarantee is a win. This week, we're calling it the GMFB Certified 100% Top Flight Sunday Roast Selections of the Week. We'll give it a little twist. Just follow us on this. I'll tell you what we mean. Everybody, Peter, you are going to start now. Look at the whole slate of games this weekend. London, United States, anywhere you want, and give us one that you guarantee will be a win for the team.
Here's the slate, and you're looking at that first game at 9:30 a.m. As a sideline reporter, I cannot make a pick for that game. That's what always happens. Sims is like, couldn't touch it. I'm calling the game.
As if you picked the game, you'd be so biased in your interviewing. Come on.
My pick is going to be one in the NFC East. Not the Eagles, not the Cowboys, but I'm going to that Redskins-Giants game. And here's the deal. The Redskins are the hottest team in the NFC East right now, and everyone is starting to talk about their defense the way they should be, and the Alabama influence of Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and Jim Tomsula and Greg Minuski and this mean, angry team that's going to win in an offensive frenzy world. This defensive-led team is going to get the job done. And yet, I love a good fire sale. I love a good team that is completely off the rails and has nothing to play for but pride.
Kyle,
do I think that the Giants are going to galvanize?
What do you got?
The Giants, I like them. And let me just do this. Let me read it the way it's going to be. Can I get the words here? Because I am saying I'm going to go with the Giants over the Redskins for my
GMFB certified 100% top flight Sunday roast selections of the week.
All right, Peter. Oh.
Are you serious? Giants over Redskins?
Giants over the Skins.
Giants over Skins.
Talk a lot about swine over here, and if I'm going for my lock, I think the Giants over the Redskins are my lock. Come at me, Twitter. Just watch. Odell goes nuts. Good night.
All right, well, I'm looking at the Browns, right? And I've been on them pretty much since last year. And it seems like this year they're up and down. Last week they lost one to the Bucs, and previous to that they got their mouths bloodied by the Chargers. But I want to date back all the way to the beginning of the season where they played the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in that game, the Steelers had 6 turnovers. And the Browns, they could not come away with this victory. So for me, I'm looking at these guys playing the Steelers once again, knowing that they walked away from that game saying, we should have had it. We should have walked away after the first game of the season, 1-0. But they didn't. That has to be eating them up inside. So because of that reason,
here we go.
I feel like the Browns of Cleveland are going to win over the Steelers of Pittsburgh. Wow. So they will get the win, and that is my
GMFB certified 100% top flight Sunday roast selections of the week.
What is happening? Nate.
Bad Nate. All right, I'm so excited. I've talked about this a lot. Packers-Rams. I'm so excited because I just think the Packers are going to need 45 points to win this game. They know it. We know it. Recently, I went back to my college field. I know, Nate, you've done it before. You played in Nevada. And you feel powerful when you get back there. It's like your fortress of solitude. This was the good old days. And I'm not thinking about Aaron Rodgers going down to the Coliseum. I'm thinking about Clay Matthews going back to his college stadium, because here's the deal. I think that there's going to be one massive defensive play in this game. Maybe it'll be made by the Rams, maybe by the Packers. I think it needs to be made by Clay Matthews. He is going back to the Coliseum where he had his heyday, Clay, with the long hair. So many wonderful days for him there as a USC Trojan. And guys, you're looking at all the people there we go. Get out of here, Jimmy Clausen. Get off my field. Number 47, exactly. Look at Clay just flipping the hair. And here's my point. Clay's going to hear, well, you got to go up against Goff and Gurley and Cooks and all these players. Clay Matthews has said, I've been on this exact patch of earth in this exact building, and I have beaten in this building Marshawn, Deshaun, Gronk, LeGarrette Blount, Golden Tate, Jonathan Stewart, Javid Best, Terrell Pryor, Jeff Samardzija, and Jeremiah Masoli. They all came into this house and left, and so will the Rams. So I'm going with the Bloody Green Bay Packers for my
GMFB certified 100%
Do you know what a Packer is? It's a
Sunday roast selections of
the Bucks and the Packers. It's so American it hurts, London. Packers win. And that leaves Adams.
Why doesn't the pig have a British accent?
I don't know, because I think it's dying. It's the universal language of death. Okay, so it's Kay's turn, which means you're probably going to pick Patriots over Bills and keep your undefeated record in turn. Is that what it is? Come on, Kay.
Here's the thing. I'm the only one that's undefeated.
Okay.
I've won every week. What is so wrong with wanting to win?
Nothing's wrong with it, Kay.
We were in the post-show meeting yesterday, making these picks, and you guys were like, egging me on. No, you pressured me
Pick
into
the one with the largest spread, Kay. Do your thing.
No,
do what you do best.
I'm not going to do my thing because you peer pressured me and it worked.
What?
It
What do you
has been
mean?
287 days since the Minneapolis Miracle. 287 days. We had Ron Jaworski sitting here, Jaworski, saying that if he had the game on the line, the one quarterback that he would want to go with in the National Football League is Drew Brees, who was playing out of his mind, having the best year of his career, a long one that almost spans 2 decades. I think that the Vikings defense is not what it was last year. I think they went from 1st to 14th through 7 weeks of the season. So I think that revenge will be had in Minneapolis. I'm going to pick the Saints over the Vikings on the road in Minneapolis for my...
Okay, now we talking. GMFB certified 100% top flight Sunday roast selections of the week.
Now we got it.
Okay. Doesn't it feel good?
No.
Doesn't it feel good going on a limb?
No, because the Patriots and Bills, which is what I wanted to pick.
Patriots, Bills, but this one, you're right. You're like, I called it.
A strikes for kids, so they are out and about in the Bay on their off days, and all the while they are having fun doing it. So good on the Buccaneers, doing some good there in the community, playing a little video games. I'm all for it. I'm all for this as well. Yes. Give it to me.
Great stuff from you, Will Selva. Yes, this is the Eagles drum line. Welcoming them into the studio for just a little extra something, son. We'll be back on Good Morning Football.
We're down to 1:40 left in overtime. Tied it.
Yeah, man, slip it in.
Yeah! It's not funny. It's only funny because we know he's okay.
It's hilarious. And then it's sort of funny, and then you know he's alive. It's hilarious. It's legendary.
I mean, last season, the Eagles, they were in the midst of the championship run, celebrating, of course, one of their most passionate fans went viral. Here he is!
Yes!
In studio, all the way from Philadelphia, Mr. Jigger Desai. Hi.
What up? Look at you.
The man.
Like $1 million.
The myth. The legend. Now let's go all the way back.
Go on.
It all started.
Yes.
On that subway platform back in Philly. Can you kind of walk us through that night and maybe even let us know what you were doing before that?
Yeah.
Or drinking before that.
Yeah, I'll walk you through it. So, as every Eagles fan, like the night before, you don't sleep. Right?
Okay, of course.
You're too excited.
Yeah.
I got to my brother's place in South Philly around 10 a.m. We had started our pre-gaming there at his place. Yeah.
Got a pregame.
We got a pregame. I wanted to get to the stadium much sooner to be amongst the people and Philly fans. My brother wanted to watch the Jaguars Patriots game at home, so I'm itching to get out. We're watching this game, and also I see all the experts talking about, hey, it's going to be a Patriots-Vikings Super Bowl. And I've waited 13 years since the last NFC Championship game.
Okay.
And as a fan, I was not going to let it happen that night. I was amped up and excited. So when we walked to the stadium, I literally, and it was a train going in the opposite direction from what we needed. We were waiting for a train across the platform. I saw the train full of Eagles fans.
Yeah.
I got extremely excited and amped up. I wanted the excitement to, keep going. And I wanted the fans to keep it moving as well. I made a poor decision to give the final go Birds at the.
I would like to go Saints.
Okay.
But I'm more impressed with the more complete team, in my opinion, especially with the wide receiving core of the Chargers. They're just great. There's only 3 teams in the NFL that have put up 20 or more points in every game this season. The Chiefs, the Rams, and the Chargers. They're the most balanced team, in my opinion, right now. They've won 4 straight. Rivers having literally the best year of his career, just 3 interceptions. Those turnovers have always haunted him throughout his entire career. He has 17 touchdowns. Melvin Gordon, 3rd in the league, 124 yards per game. He's got 9 total touchdowns in 7 games. That's unbelievable stuff, 7 weeks rather. Austin Eckler obviously emerging as a talent as well, a compliment piece to him. And it's a 3-headed monster that the guy sitting to my left, who played wide receiver for over a decade in the NFL, said maybe is the most dangerous wide receiving core in the league in Keenan Allen and the Williams brothers.
Yeah, no question. Tyrell Williams will be one of the highest paid free agents this year. He's on a basically one and done prove it year with.
You've been saying that for months, and it's true.
He's balling out. But yeah, the most balanced offense, I would say. I agree with you right there.
It's just that firepower with the wide receivers, and it's just firepower.
No question. And getting back to Adam Thielen for a second, man. Like, for a second there was this kind of like, oh, great for him story. This kid
Minnesota State.
Came
to a tryout like Vince Papale.
And then he kind of caught a little bit of a heater last year, and there was this, it has a Linsanity feel to it. But even Jeremy Lin fizzled out in the NBA. Not fizzled out in the sense he's still playing, still a baller, and still respected as a
He came back to earth, is what you're saying.
He wasn't on a heater.
Yeah.
This isn't, does he belong? He's at the top. So I would encourage Adam Thielen, if he comes across this clip, keep going, man. Why not? Why not you? Why not be the league leader by the time this season is over? Not often do you have a chance midway part of the season where you're leading the NFL. The guys behind you are absolute studs. But here's the thing. So are you.
Mm-hmm. My man there.
Love that. So those are exciting offenses. The Texans, of course, among them. There was that injury, though, yesterday in the fourth quarter. We all love Will Fuller. We know how fast he is and what he does for that offense, opening things up for everybody else. Let's check in on Will Fuller, bringing in Ian Rappaport now. He's in New York, holding it down with all the updates, following a huge game last night, a huge win for the Texans, but potentially a huge loss for one of their favorite wideouts.
Yeah, it does, in fact, Kay, sound like Will Fuller is going to be lost for the season. He's still getting an MRI today, so there is a little bit of hope, but not much. From my understanding, based on the initial test, this is a torn ACL for Will Fuller, and it really did look, in fact, like a serious injury. As soon as he went down in the end zone, you're going to see it right here. Holds his knee, holds the top of his knee right away. Was declared out very quickly. That always is bad news. So he's going to have some tests today, but the expectation is the Texans are going to have to go without Will Fuller through 2018. The only silver lining to this is they do get Kiki Kuti back fairly soon from that hamstring injury, but still pretty significant blow.
All right, now, what a week Devontae Parker has had. He was at the center of controversy leading into this game, and then he proceeded to set a career high in receiving yards last night. Does he have a future with the Dolphins? That's what I need to know.
Absolutely surreal night for Devontae Parker. First, his agent called out Adam Gase, said Gase should make himself inactive. Then the Dolphins ran out of receivers, had no choice but to play Parker, who's still coming off a string of frustrating injuries. Then he has the best night of his career. So the Dolphins really have a choice now. They can say, okay, this first-round pick that we have been waiting for years finally did emerge, and now we can play him. Or they could kind of go the other way and say, all the other teams now have seen what he can do. If anybody wants to trade for him, they are looking for a mid-round pick. If anybody wants to trade for him, come and get him. Either way for the Miami Dolphins, they're going to end up with a pretty good receiver they didn't have before, or a pretty good draft pick that they didn't have before either.
Last one for you, Ian. A tough night for Brock Osweiler. When can we expect Tannehill to get back from his shoulder injury, and what happens when he does?
Well, the expectation was going into the night that Ryan Tannehill was going to keep his starting job whenever he comes back, and just judging from the product that Brock Osweiler put on the field, that is going to happen. So the question now, okay, is when's Tannehill going to get back? And there was a little bit of good news. He began throwing recently with not NFL footballs, but small balls, Nerf balls, similar to the Andrew Luck situation from earlier in the year. That's going to ramp up this week. Perhaps he'll be able to throw a regular football by next week. So maybe still a little bit away, because generally if you're just starting to throw regular footballs, you're not quite ready. So maybe another starter, Brock Osweiler, and then hopefully for the Miami Dolphins, they do get Ryan Tannehill back sooner rather than later as he tries to recover from the shoulder injury and help them get their season back on track.
Great stuff from Ian Rappaport. Another loss for those Dolphins. We'll be breaking down that game, showing you guys some more highlights throughout the day here on NFL Network. And Ian will talk to you later, as so much is going on across the league and crew at NFL Films.
We should.
Holding it down.
What would you have in the card? The eye, the Big Ben? What's your favorite scenic that we've shown?
A pie.
A pie, yes.
Big fat pie.
I had another pie last night.
You did.
What was the ingredients?
Are you kidding me?
Brooke and I went to this pub, and we wanted 2 steak pies. I said, we only have 1 steak pie left. They're that popular. So she had to get the chicken. I had the steak. It's delicious. They put all their foods in a pie here.
Are all the pies the same size? They're all like those little
too small.
pies?
Yeah, no, they're too small. They're only about like the size of like a Pringles can. You know, I want the pizza.
It's like a Hot Pocket.
Yeah,
kind of a thing. There we go. Let's say hi to Will Selva out in the newsroom in Los Angeles. Will, I know you're probably bummed you're not here, but at least you haven't gained 10 pounds like the rest of us.
Yeah.
I know, it sounds like that. And with KB's experience tomorrow, it sounds like we'll see if he's got 2 earlobes by the end of his experience at Jack the Cutter. Is that what it was?
Jack the Clipper. Jack the Clipper. Better and better, yes. Yes.
Singeing those sideburns. Oy. That sounds dicey.
World.
Very, very dicey. Either way, though, this is a fun fact to begin this update with. Did you know that today marks 100 days until Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta? It's true. Many thought either the Jaguars or the Eagles would be playing in that game, but both teams are sitting at 3-4 in jeopardy of missing the playoffs, and things across the pond not starting well for Jacksonville as corner A.J. Bouye did not make the trip to London because of a calf injury suffered in practice on Wednesday that caused him to miss practice on Thursday. This according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. Meanwhile, the Giants doing a little house cleaning this week as they shipped off defensive tackle Damon Snacks Harrison to the Lions and corner Eli Apple. He was traded to the Saints. The G-men looking like they are building for the future with 9 games left. Wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. taking the moves in stride because he says it's just part of the business.
This is a multi-million, billion-dollar industry, and at the end of the day, it is a business, so it's really out of my control. You know, those guys were family. You know, Snacks was like a brother to me. Came and visited me in the hospital. We'll forever be lifetime friends, brothers, and I'm wishing him the best and Eli the best in their careers, but it is a business, so it's tough, man. That's the hardest part about this. You know, you get close to people and you know, things like this could happen at any point. So it's just the reality of our sport.
The sport is a losing season. It has not gone as planned for the 49ers. Quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and running back Jerick McKinnon lost for the year, while corner Richard Sherman has been dealing with a calf injury, leading some to speculate that they could be in seller mode as well. So has Sherman been contacted about a trade?
They haven't reached out to my agent, obviously. And express anything. You know, they've said since I came here that I was part of the future plans, at least for the next couple years. And that's the way we see it. That's the way I see it.
Sherman, of course, serving as his own agent. So if they haven't contacted him, well, they haven't actually contacted his agent. Either way, he signed in the offseason a 3-year deal worth $39 million, but adding a dose of levity in a season that right now looks like it is going south quickly for the 49ers.
We love trade deadline humor, Will. Appreciate you very much and talk to you throughout the show here, throughout the hour on Good Morning Football. It is never too early for your favorite thing in the world, and that's football. 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Start your morning at Wembley Stadium. Kyle has to try so hard to not make a joke there. It's unbelievable. Wembley Stadium in London. 2 teams who nearly met in the Super Bowl a year ago, Eagles, Jags, live from London. Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and only on NFL Network. What do you got?
Nothing.
Just a few minutes ago. Nah, thank you. Cut his mic, please. No, we're going to go hang out with Melissa Stark because she got to hang out with one of our favorites, Mr. 10 Toes Down himself. Listen. Telvin Smith.
The Jaguars back in London. They're home away from home. First of all, you got the Fulham scarf rocking. That's Shad Khan's team over here.
Come on, of course. Now we rep it. We're making sure we hold it down, 10 toes down.
So many fans out here to see you guys. Really, you've had so much success here. Won 3 straight. What's the mood of the team?
Is it to build off of that, to continue that, to leave what's in the States over there, come over here, get a fresh start. You know what I mean? Yeah. Come over here, get a fresh start, and get ready to go on our bye week great.
Well, so the Eagles have never played here, and you guys, this is your 6th year in a row. So what kind of advantage does that give you?
I think it's just the familiar, the understanding. Obviously, we get support from the fans out here, you know what I mean? And then just being in Wembley, I think is every time we step in there, we understand the greatness of that place, so we rise to the occasion.
Not to be a downer, but it's been a little rough the last couple of weeks. Lost 3 in a row. You had a little locker room issue after the game. Blake Bortles, bench. I mean, how do you guys turn this around?
We just continue to believe in each other, and we use everything that we go to build, and that's what we're doing, and that's what I love about this team. We are really banding together, becoming that band of brothers that make the championship teams.
Well, and you guys are really supporting Bortles. I mean, Calais Campbell's saying, when I look in his eyes, I see a competitor. What do you guys see that maybe the critics don't?
A guy who's not only wanting to and ready to prove himself to the team, but just ready to show the team like I'm here for y'all and I'm fighting just as hard as y'all. So that's why we rallying behind him, because he ain't gave up on us. We can't give up on him.
I know you guys worked on securing the football, also taking the football away, right? Is that pretty much what this week was all about?
Takeaways.
You can do a little dance.
Listen, but it's gonna be solid, man. It's been an emphasis. We got to crank it up as a defense. We know that we are a very infectious group, and we can be effective on the offensive side when we start getting turnovers. So we got to make sure we come out fiery hot tomorrow and ready to go.
You got to get your swagger back.
Come on now, listen. We swag is like sauce. You don't never lose sauce. You just, got to dap into it a little bit and get deep in it.
Or a little more on.
That's it. You feel me?
Okay, last question. What is this game going to come down to?
It's going to come down to toughness. You got two teams who are in a dogfight right now, who our seasons are kind of went in the same direction. So now it's who wants it more, who is going to come out and battle the hardest and rely on each other the most, and that's who's going to get it done.
We'll see you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
Great.
Just got to pour some more sauce on it, Nate.
You never lose the sauce, okay? You never lose it.
Nate, describe his voice. What is his voice? We all love it.
He got a little southern draw, so there's that accent in there. And he got a little 50 Cent, like he don't really open his mouth up too much. Like, listen.
Drama in the pub.
That's good. That was really good.
Hey, 10 toes down. Listen. You feel me? Hey, I love you, some Telvin Smith. That's my guy. I feel you on the sauce, though. You never lose the sauce.
I'm having Melissa ask if he'll do the high tea with me.
Okay,
later.
so what's
I texted
the update?
Melissa. I haven't heard back yet.
It's still alive.
I just feel like out of all the players that are in London right now, I would love to have high tea and learn about high tea. I've never done it before with Telvin Smith.
It'll be amazing. So good.
That's great TV. Down.
Listen.
Kind of a sandwich eating contest, a finger sandwich eating contest with Telvin. Why not? We'll be back.
If you have a football show, guys, you got to have a pick. You got to have a pick section for the weekend. That segment always rates, as we're told. We're going to call it something different, though. This week, we will make our selections for the weekend. We'll recall one game that we guarantee is a win. This week, we're calling it the GMFB Certified 100% Top Flight Sunday Roast Selections of the Week. We'll give it a little twist. Just follow us on this. I'll tell you what we mean. Everybody, Peter, you are going to start now. Look at the whole slate of games this weekend. London, United States, anywhere you want, and give us one that you guarantee will be a win for the team.
Here's the slate, and you're looking at that first game at 9:30 a.m. As a sideline reporter, I cannot make a pick for that game. That's what always happens. Sims is like, couldn't touch it. I'm calling the game.
As if you picked the game, you'd be so biased in your interviewing. Come on.
My pick is going to be one in the NFC East. Not the Eagles, not the Cowboys, but I'm going to that Redskins-Giants game. And here's the deal. The Redskins are the hottest team in the NFC East right now, and everyone is starting to talk about their defense the way they should be, and the Alabama influence of Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and Jim Tomsula and Greg Minuski and this mean, angry team that's going to win in an offensive frenzy world. This defensive-led team is going to get the job done. And yet, I love a good fire sale. I love a good team that is completely off the rails and has nothing to play for but pride.
Kyle,
do I think that the Giants are going to galvanize?
What do you got?
The Giants... I like them, and let me just do this. Let me read it the way it's going to be. Can I get the words here? Because I am saying I'm going to go with the Giants over the Redskins for my
GMFB Certified 100% Top Flight Sunday Roast Selections of the Week.
All right, Peter.
Are you serious? Giants over Redskins?
Giants over the Skins.
Giants over Skins.
Talk a lot about swine over here, and if I'm going for my lock, I think the Giants over the Redskins are my lock. Come at me, Twitter. Just watch. Odell goes nuts. Good night.
All right, well, I'm looking at the Browns, right? And I've been on them pretty much since last year. And it seems like this year they're up and down. Last week they lost one to the Bucs, and previous to that they got their mouths bloodied by the Chargers. But I want to date back all the way to the beginning of the season where they played the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in that game, the Steelers had 6 turnovers. And the Browns, they could not come away with this victory. So for me, I'm looking at these guys playing the Steelers once again, knowing that they walked away from that game saying, we should have had it. We should have walked away after the first game of the season, 1-0. But they didn't. That has to be eating them up inside. So because of that reason,
here we go.
I feel like the Browns of Cleveland are going to win over the Steelers of Pittsburgh. Wow. So they will get the win, and that is my
GMFB Certified 100% Top Flight Sunday Roast Selections of the Week.
What is happening? Nate.
Bad Nate. All right, I'm so excited. I've talked about this a lot. Packers-Rams. I'm so excited because I just think the Packers are going to need 45 points to win this game. They know it. We know it. Recently, I went back to my college field. I know, Nate, you've done it before. You played in Nevada. And you feel powerful when you get back there. It's like your fortress of solitude. This was the good old days. And I'm not thinking about Aaron Rodgers going down to the Coliseum. I'm thinking about Clay Matthews going back to his college stadium because here's the deal. I think that there's going to be one massive defensive play in this game. Maybe it'll be made by the Rams, maybe by the Packers. I think it needs to be made by Clay Matthews. He is going back to the Coliseum where he had his heyday, Clay, with the long hair. So many wonderful days for him there as a USC Trojan. And guys, you're looking at all the people there we go. Get out of here, Jimmy Clausen. Get off my field. Number 47, exactly. Look at Clay just flipping the hair. And here's my point. Clay's going to hear, well, you got to go up against Goff and Gurley and Cooks and all these players. Clay Matthews has said, I've been on this exact patch of earth in this exact building, and I have beaten in this building Marshawn, Deshaun, Gronk, LeGarrette Blount, Golden Tate, Jonathan Stewart, Javid Best, Terrell Pryor, Jeff Samardzija, and Jeremiah Masoli. They all came into this house and left, and so will the Rams. So I'm going with the Bloody Green Bay Packers for my
GMFB certified 100%.
Do you know what a Packer is? It's a
Sunday roast selections of
the Bucks and the Packers. It's so American it hurts, London. Packers win. And that leaves Adams.
Why doesn't the pig have a British accent?
I don't know, because I think it's dying. It's the universal language of death. Okay, so it's Kay's turn, which means you're probably going to pick Patriots over Bills and keep your undefeated record in turn. Is that what it is? Come on, Kay.
Here's the thing. I'm the only one that's undefeated.
Okay.
I've won every week. What is so wrong with wanting to win?
Nothing's wrong with it, Kay.
We were in the post-show meeting yesterday, making these picks, and you guys were like, egging me on. No, you pressured me into
the one with the largest spread, Kay. Do your thing.
No,
do what you do.
I'm not going to do my thing because you peer pressured me and it worked.
What?
It's been 287 days since the Minneapolis Miracle. 287 days. We had Ron Jaworski sitting here, Jaworski, saying that if he had the game on the line, the one quarterback that he would want to go with in the National Football League is Drew Brees, who is playing out of his mind, having the best year of his career, a long one. It almost spans 2 decades. I think that the Vikings defense is not what it was last year. I think they went from 1st to 14th through 7 weeks of the season. So I think that revenge will be had in Minneapolis. I'm going to pick the Saints over the Vikings on the road in Minneapolis for my...
Okay, now we talking. GMFB certified 100% top flight Sunday roast selections of the week.
Now we got it.
Okay, doesn't it feel good?
No.
Doesn't it feel good going on a limb?
No, because the Patriots and Bills is what I wanted to pick.
Patriots, Bills, but this one, you're right. You're like,
I'm proud of you. Way to fall for the reverse psychology.
Hey!
Peer pressure.
You want to do it over and take Broncos over Chiefs? Still a chance. Get the brand ready.
Not doing it.
All right.
That was good, though.
Yeah, really good. That was fun.
Great stuff. If you guys have picks, please make them. And tweet us at #GMFB. That poor pig. Up next, I'll talk Browns.
That's right. Okay, right here.
9:30 a.m.
Oh, hey now.
Eastern. It's nice to have football in the morning, no?
It's better than breakfast, Kay.
Wake up.
Nate's leaving today, and he wakes up and it's raining outside. Nate, what did you say? What did you say? I
said that, London is crying because we're leaving soon.
And I said I think London's crying because we're staying.
You are leaving. London loves us. What are you talking about? No?
We love London. I think it loves us.
I love it. #GMFB Sunday. The 6-1 Chiefs, who sit atop the AFC West, host Von Miller and the Denver Broncos. They're at Arrowhead, and our Jeff Chadia is with the Chiefs this week leading up to that matchup. Jeff, what has been the Chiefs' focus heading into this divisional matchup?
Thanks, Kay. And right now, Patrick Mahomes is the biggest story in Kansas City and perhaps all of football. But if he had to pick a second place right now, it would go to wide receiver Tyreek Hill. He's on pace for a career-high 1,451 yards, and it's no surprise that he's having this kind of success. Head coach Andy Reid talked earlier this week about Hill, and he said that he's really worked hard at his route running. Not just being a vertical guy or a guy catching screens and trying to go to the house, but a guy who's really good at intermediate routes, really good at sharpening his routes at the top of the route. And he's really worked hard with not only Alex Smith, but Patrick Mahomes at building his game. So I know Jalen Ramsey, the Jaguars cornerback, said that Hill was a Pro Bowl return specialist only, but by the end of the season, Hill might just be a Pro Bowl receiver. And now we'll throw it back to you.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Looking forward to, of course, Von Miller and what he can do. Did not notch a sack in that first game against the Chiefs earlier this season. Let's do a little Mad Minutes.
All right.
Full slate of action on Sunday. 60 seconds on the clock. First up, Denver at Kansas City, the one we were just talking about. They're reading for the second time. What are you looking for?
I'm looking at this Chiefs defense. We keep talking about this offense, but this defense going into this game, going up against Case Keenum, who has 9 interceptions this season. You got to be kind of licking your chops a little bit, saying this is an opportunity for us to kind of catch a rhythm, start creating some turnovers, and that can help them for the rest of the season. So Case Keenum struggling, only had 7 interceptions last season, now at 9. So him trying to find himself within this offense, Chiefs defense could have a big day.
Interesting time for Case Keenum, too. Last time we were talking about him, they were talking about Chad Kelly coming into the game and the fans cheering for him and say, get Keenum out and get this kid in. Well, Chad Kelly has since been kicked off the team. So if I'm Keenum now, I don't have to worry about that. This is my show. They're not going with anybody else. And let's face it, guys, he's going to have to put up 30, 35, 40 points to win this game. Case did that time and again. He'll do that again. I want to see Case Keenum in this game.
I'll go back to Von Miller here because it goes beyond last time they played. I mean, last week, of course, he said he was going to kick the arse of the Cardinals. He did that, 2 strip sacks. This time it's Mahomes. He has not notched a sack, not only the last time they played the Chiefs, the last 4 times. 4 games straight without a sack. I'm looking for him to sort of break that and make it happen and keep that streak going.
It's a good nugget, Kay.
So really we got the Saints and the Vikings, a Minneapolis Miracle redo up at U.S. Bank. What are you looking
Saints,
for?
Vikings. You know, I'm going to take this really superficial. The reason to watch this game alone is Drew Brees has the greatest jersey of all time. Have you guys been paying attention to this? Bring it up. Everyone wants to talk about the Chargers powder blues and everything else they have. If you look at Drew Brees now, he's got the Captain C, which in this case was Crucial Catch. He has the Walter Payton Man of the Year patch. And then over on the right, amazing. Over on the right, we have a Mr. Benson Mardi Gras patch. I think he should get one.
Is that real?
Those are all real. That's how Drew Brees takes the field.
He's just a Boy Scout.
It's okay, you're right. There should be knot tying, helping the elderly. And I'm not even joking. He's beaten all 32 teams. He should have a 32 patch. He should have a 500 for 500 touchdown passes. I want him to look like a NASCAR driver when this is done. My favorite jersey of all time, the Drew Brees right now.
I think the 32 patch should happen.
I do too.
I'm with you on that.
3 people in history have done it. I think if you beat all 32, you should get a 32 patch.
I want that jersey right now.
That's amazing.
I thought that was Photoshop.
No, that's real.
Speaking of Drew Brees and all the amazing things that he's doing, you want to watch him because it seems like every game he's doing something special, and now he's extending that record that he already broke this season. But what about Thielen? Pay attention to that guy. He is on a heater right now, and you want to witness greatness. And right now, we are witnessing with Adam Thielen.
And what a story for him as well. All right, next, an AFC North battle in Steeltown. The Cleveland Browns facing the Steelers. The 2 teams already played. They had that tie in Week 1, which you love and everyone else hated. What are you expecting to see in this rematch?
Yeah, and in that tie, we saw Tyrod Taylor, who was in that game. And Tyrod. And he played a decent game, but he didn't play well enough for them to win, obviously, with them ending in tie. The Pittsburgh Steelers had 6 turnovers that game. Denzel Ward had 2 himself, and still the Browns couldn't walk away with that. Now, if you're the Browns, you're kicking yourself in the butt because you get that win. That kind of changes the complexion of your season. So they have to be going to this game not really as the little brother who's constantly getting picked on and beat on and getting the wet willies and the noogies in the head. You're kind of that little brother that's found himself. Like, you know what? I've matured a little bit, and now it's time for me to go in the backyard and finally stand up to Big Bro. And let's see if they can get this win. This is my upset of the week.
I look at the Steelers have been on a bye. We haven't seen them in a long time. And all the drama, all the Le'Veon, and all this and all that, it would be so classic Steelers to come out of the bye, beat up the Browns like they always do, and just keep chugging right to the playoffs. That is the Steelers' business model, and I think it's going to happen. I'm sorry. I hope the Cleveland does it because I like to flip the table. Steelers are Steelers are Steelers, man.
They've won 3 of the last 4, the Steelers. The Browns have lost 3 of the last 4. So we'll see what happens. Big Ben is leading the league in receiving yards a game. 338 yards a game for Big Ben now. And that defense looking a little better.
He's doing better than the one over your shoulder, Kay. That Big Ben. Look at that one.
I know.
That Big Ben's beat up, man.
It's got the Kevlar sleeve on. All right, finally, a matchup that dates back to 1932. Redskins taking on the Giants. 60 seconds. Kyle, what do you got?
This one should be played in 1932. This gets me out of bed in the morning. Saquon versus Adrian Peterson, the guy he grew up watching on television. It's like you get to play against your idol, and I think your idol is playing just as well as you. I hope it's low scoring. I hope it's 16-13. Each guy gets 30 carries. We see who comes out on top. This is the football I grew up with.
So let me get this right. The Redskins, the only team in the NFC East with a winning record. Kind of blows your mind.
You're right.
All these teams. You look at Dallas, and we go on the season thinking about the Giants.
The Eagles.
The Eagles. I forgot about the World Series. And now these guys have a chance to continue to shape their own destiny because you know the Eagles at some point are going to self-correct and they're going to be one of the top teams.
Maybe Sunday.
or maybe not. And if that's the case, I think the Redskins need to focus on their own path and go ahead and keep this division lead and make sure they extend that. But that defense, though, they're going to have their hands full. Because I tell you what, regardless of what you want to say about the Giants, that offense is heating up.
It's a rivalry that we haven't seen maybe since 1932 that I'd like. It feels like it anyway. Josh Norman up against Odell. Is that going to happen? Is there
you're right.
Is there anything to that being? I'm just hopeful that could somehow be reignited. Josh Norman was kind of quiet. Now he's coming back and talking a lot. Like, if there's an agitator for Odell.
I don't know. After guys get paid,
over?
No, I don't. I think
I'd like to see it renewed. Is that a bad thing?
No. We want to be entertained.
Money kind of calms people down. So Odell got paid. He might not be as ornery.
Love that. There you have it. Your Mad Minutes. We took our show global. We're here internationally. Of course, in London. Is the Kyle Brandt football experience also going global?
Yes. Going international, okay. Tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern, I have this fun show called the Kyle Brandt Football Experience. OCU Manura came by. We talk all London things. We had to pre-tape that one. And tonight I'm going to give you the one thing that England needs to help the NFL with that they're not doing. They're letting us down. I have a red flag for this entire country.
I can't wait to hear that.
It'll be fun. A lot of highlights, a lot of fun stuff.
To see that, and that is at 6 p.m. Eastern. On NFL Network. Please stay tuned.
It's an appropriate, it calls for a suit, and I come as fly as I can, but even someone as stylish as me could use a little advice from professionals every once in a while. Take a look. Now, when it comes to men's fashion, you might think of Paris or Milan, but the most influential and important street in the entire world when it comes to men's style is right here in London at Savile Row. One of the more famous shops on the row is Richard James. Established in the early 90s, Richard James was the go-to spot for a modern-day take on bespoke suits. With slimmer cuts and brighter colors, that's speaking my language. Let's check it out. What makes a suit bespoke?
This is all completely custom made for you. We make the pattern for you. You choose out the fabric, you choose the exact style. It's all made in-house. And anything you want, we can do.
Bespoke is bespoke. It's a key moment of making handwork inside. The canvassing is all made the same. Whether it be a high-end fabric or a low-end fabric, it's still the same handwork. It's about 70 hours, man-hours.
70?
Yeah, to make a suit.
Okay, I see why it's so expensive. Yeah. Since the 1800s, Savile Row has been home of the very best tailors. This is the home of the bespoke suit. These tailors have dressed countless celebrities, dignitaries, royals, and maybe even myself. I'm here to shop, so can I get fitted for a suit?
Of course, let's go.
Oh! I'm gonna need you to move because there's something calling my name. This right here. Nate, buy me.
I think you'd need a bit more round in the side seams just so it can kind of get a better fit on it. See there, see.
You're trying to say I should do more exercise?
No.
Oh, okay. As you can see, I kind of chopped the pants on this suit. What is your personal opinion about this look?
You know what? Tailoring, it's all about your own personal flair and adding to it. So if you want to wear shorts, you wear shorts. If you want to wear flares, you wear flares with your suits. I think that is the...
Bring it on in, Leon. See? Now, sloped shoulders.
Yeah.
As you notice. See? And I think I'm going to buy this. What is the price of a full suit for this right here?
Made like this? It's about $4,500.
Excuse me. So the NFL is paying for this, right? Here in London, when it comes to fashion and men's style, this here is the epicenter of it all. My pockets might be a little bit lighter, but my heart is heavier. Tell you what, your boy went in and did some damage. I'm here in London. I hope you enjoyed it.
Hey, you're the coolest guy on the planet.
Oh, thanks,
yes,
man.
You are.
Shout out to the NFL Network and everybody involved here. Good Morning Football taking me there. Learned so much. The history, though. Yeah. So much of what we know about suits, tuxedos even, started right there on that block and with those brands and those shops. It was an amazing experience.
Was it like to the nines?
It was to the nines. Like so much so.
Here's some cognac.
There was a guy walking out while I was shooting. He was coming out of another shop, and I'm just being complimentary. I said, hey, man, it's a nice outfit. You look handsome. He looked me up and down and said, where's the rest of your trousers, mate?
He said that to
you? And I was waiting for a smile. No smile. Like, he literally was taking a shot at me. I'm like, come on, fam. Trying to be nice.
What'd you say? Your mama's house?
That's exactly what I said. At your mama's house. You want to be petty? So can I.
You did not say that.
Yeah, I went full-time petty on her.
Slap with the glove.
Yeah, you want a duel? I got jokes for days. You know, America, we got your mama jokes for days.
I hear you. We have some guests in America. I know Troy has been here all week. Your lovely wife, and Brooke just got here.
Yes, my wife, Brooke Brandt. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I love you. 28 months ago, I uprooted my wife and our 2 babies to move across the country for this crazy morning show the NFL Network was trying. So I love you. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Awesome. I love that.
Happy birthday, Brooke.
They might be right over there.
I think Nate's wife and my wife are in the eye as we speak, so you can actually see them up there. Hey, you guys. Love you.
We're having so much fun.
There's my wife.
Nate will be back on CBS on Sunday, right?
I will be. I'm headed back to New York to get my feet back on the ground, and then I'll be doing the NFL Today on Sunday.
Amazing. And Peter Schrager will be on the sidelines on NFL Network for the Eagles and the Jags. Kyle and I are going to handle pregame duties on NFL Network, so really just don't turn your TV off until then. We will be on tomorrow on Good Morning Football Weekend, and we'll see you guys. And here's some of our best moments from the week.
Wow, what a